Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Dr. Sean, the physical therapy application coach, with another pre-PT success story with Sammi. What's going on, Sammi? How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. What have you been up to today?
Not much. Worked out this morning. It's supposed to rain here in California in a little bit. We're supposed to have some storms, so that'll be interesting. Just gonna see
Yeah.
where the day takes me.
Well, there you go. There you go. So when it's a rainy day and you have time to yourself, what do you do?
Well, it's really hard to get motivated to work out, so I try to do that first thing in the morning, and
Nice.
then when I don't have school, I like to just kind of like Netflix and couch potato it.
Your Netflix and chill. Nice. Okay. Okay. Well, Sammi, let's go ahead and have you share a little bit about your pre-PT journey. And spoiler alert, Sammy's got some exciting news she'll share with us about getting into PT school. But go ahead and take us to the beginning of your pre-PT journey.
So I actually, in the last couple of years, decided I wanted to do PT. I just finished my undergrad, so I got my bachelor's in exercise science with an emphasis in health professions. But before my
Congratulations.
emphasis, thank you.
All done.
Yes. Before my emphasis in health professions, my emphasis was actually in human performance. So I had planned on just doing like strength and conditioning, personal training, that kind of thing. So when I started at college, I did an internship, personal training, and then I got to my university and I still loved that. So I got a job working as a sports performance coach. And in that facility, we also had a sports medicine clinic. And so I was always just like looking in the clinic, super curious as to what they were doing. Yeah, pretty much. I was super curious as to what they were doing. So I asked if I could intern with them, and I interned and I just fell in love with it. I also got to shadow chiropractors, athletic trainers, aside from physical therapists. So it was a really good experience, and that's kind of where I fell in love with PT. And then I switched my major over to health professions and went from there.
And here we are now.
And
Okay.
here we are.
So you just finished your degree, but let's talk about like the application season itself. So where did you apply and where did you get good news from? Where are you going?
So I applied to 13 programs. I was yeah, I was just really scared that I wouldn't get in anywhere. So I was like, okay, gotta take every chance I can. Which, costs a lot of money and is also very tedious because you have to write a lot of essays.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard, or I got a few rejections first before I even heard from anywhere. So I was like, okay, am I even going to get accepted anywhere this cycle?
Red alert.
Yeah. I was like, okay, but I have 10 more schools I need to hear from. So,
There's
so
the
I got,
chance.
yes. So I got invitations to interview at University of Colorado and then a few other schools, but University of Colorado was the first interview. And I was just so surprised I even got an invite to begin with, because that was kind of like my dream school. I was like, if I get an interview here, I will be like beyond myself excited. And so I did the interview and I ended up getting accepted to University of Colorado. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Dream
so
school. Check.
yeah, and I was just like, it's still like so weird to say that because it still feels like a dream.
Yeah.
So I will be attending University of Colorado. And then after I got that acceptance, I started getting more interview invites for other schools. And I got waitlisted at a few schools, a couple more rejections. And yeah.
There you go. So kind of all across the spectrum
Yeah.
for your acceptance stuff. Cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that matters is top choice. Here we come.
Yes.
So what was it about University of Colorado that just made you feel magnetized to that program?
So I applied there initially because they have a lot of really good research opportunities,
Okay.
especially for first year students, which I was super interested in. And as well as a lot of their like values of their program, I just align with a lot. They're very involved in community service and that kind of thing. And the PT program is on a medical campus. So you get a lot of interaction with other students in different programs. So like PA, dentistry, nursing, etc. So I thought that would be really cool to interact with those students as well. And then after going to the interview, I just realized how really amazing the program was. The students all spoke very highly of the faculty and the staff. They had nothing but good things to say about the program. And the whole interview process was really well organized. It's really easy to get in touch with people and communicate. And so I just got a really good vibe from that school. And then something kind of crazy happened. So I was looking up the school and I found out that their mascot is a lynx, which is a cat, and its name is Milo. And so I actually, as you know, last year, my cat named Milo passed away unexpectedly. So seeing that their school mascot was a cat named Milo, I was like, this is it. This is my school. I have to go here.
Guaranteed. Locked and loaded at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I think that's great. All those reasons, like a lot of times for people, there's not like one thing in particular that makes an individual decide on one program. It kind of sounds like the whole collective experience and then these other serendipitous moments that came about. And I'm just so excited for you, Sammi, because I remember when you first contacted me, I could just feel like the anxiety in your email. You were so stressed out, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how did you find out about physical therapy application coach?
So that actually seems like forever ago at this point.
True.
I think I was just on YouTube and your channel popped up. I don't even think I was researching like PT application coaches or anything like that. You just kind of popped up. I checked out your channel and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a go. And yeah, I think it was just meant to be that I found you.
There you go. Another Milo moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I loved working with you, Sammi. It really was so fun just because I talked to another person I did an interview with earlier today about this, but when an applicant comes to me, they have all this bag of stuff that they've done, like all these good things. Like when we went through and we evaluated your application, you had all this research, all this community involvement, you did well in school, despite what you think you did well in school, all these other factors that kind of play into that. And by the time they get to application season, they just don't believe it. They don't believe that they deserve to get into a program. And it's really hard to like reinfuse that into applicants. So as we kind of went throughout this process and we worked on your essay, it was kind of cool to see you over time start to buy in and believe that more, because it is hard. And I think this application cycle really made me realize that most people at schools who advise you on getting into schools, all they do is they tell you what you have to do to qualify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like to have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of straddle the line between like, I want to show you what, like, yes, these are the requirements that we need to meet or at least get close to it, but also letting you know that like programs deserve to have people like you come to their school. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been what's so fun is these people who come in, they don't believe it. Like you said, I don't believe I'm going to get in. I'm going to apply to all these schools and I'm just praying, like, please let something work.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, your top choice comes according and you're nothing but excited about your future. Mm-hmm. So I just think that's really fun. And it's cool to see the whole thing kind of come full circle.
Yeah. And you were such a big help in like believing in myself. And sometimes I thought, honestly, you believed in me more than I believed in myself. So it was really great to have that support from you.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think that is, I don't know. I feel like there's so few people in the world that root for individuals. You know what I mean? Like it's so sad that we're all just like on this journey on our own.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And my gosh, I just want you to know you have somebody who's rooting for you, you know, and somebody who's like really pushing for it. And like, I pray for all of the people I coach, like, especially when we get to interviews, I'm just like, please help them to be calm and remember what we've practiced, and whatever's meant to happen, let it happen. And you know, those frantic emails when people are like, I got rejected and it was the first thing I heard. I've been there. That was like when I got my first rejection to my dream school, I was devastated and just thought like everything was going to fall apart, and things worked out. Where you're supposed to go ended up panning out, especially if you've put in the time, you've done your best academically, you've you've done all of the work that you need to be the best version of yourself as an applicant. And then as long as you've done your research about programs where you should apply and where you're actually competitive, you find a home. And that's the whole process. So I really believed in you from the beginning, because I
Yes.
saw all this cool stuff you've done and what a great person you are and all the things
Thank
you do in
you.
the community. And I think University of Colorado is blessed to have you as an incoming member of their cohort.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So why do you think people should use physical therapy application coach? We kind of talked about it, but anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so I use you for essays and interview coaching. And I think essays are such a big part of the application that a lot of people tend to possibly like overlook. Because, your GPA, it's just a number. GRE, it's just a number. But the essays is the part of your application where you can really show like your unique background and what makes you you and your personality. And so I think that really making those essays perfect and helping you stand out is what will get you into a school. Like, I think that was a huge help in getting me accepted. And so I just remember like you read my first essay and you were like, this is boring. We need to spice it up. And it was so honest. And that's exactly what I needed, because people don't want to just read, like, I think you use the expression like a Candyland map of your life. Like, they want it to be interesting and they want it to grab them.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that's what helped me stand out. So I think that if other people utilize that as well, it'll really help their applications.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate the endorsement. What about for interviews? How do you feel like that made a difference for you with interview coaching?
Yeah, so doing the practice interviews was a game changer. I mean, of course, when the actual interview happens, you're going to be super nervous, but doing the practice interviews beforehand kind of takes away a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have a general idea of what they could ask you or what you're going to say. And so with you, it's like you didn't have me like rehearse and memorize what I was going to say, but you helped like lay out how I would answer questions that actually would answer their question and help them understand who I am. And so that was super helpful. And just like the worksheets you gave with the practice questions and like the self-reflecting sheet, because a lot of the times it's hard to think of things on the spot when you're asked. So it's really important to prepare for those types of questions in an interview. And also, interviewers want to see that you are prepared. They want to see that you're not just like showing up and giving your best shot. They want to see that you took the time because you care about the program.
Absolutely. It's just like a job interview. Like, you need to do your research, think about things that they could ask you.
Mm-hmm.
What are, notable things in your background that you want to bring up, so that way they can be excited and you pique their interest a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, no, I agree. Something that was really cool, Sammi, with this year is one of the things that we had talked about is trying to modify with the pandemic, right? With what happened, everything went on and still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And something that was really neat was to see that I didn't really change my philosophy or my product. Yes, there were nuances. There's different things that happened. Accommodations were made. But more or less, like, the system is the same. Helping people write good essays, helping people be skillful during their interviews. It doesn't really change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope going forward for you, you don't forget the things that we've worked on, because they will help you in the future with interviews that you have for other jobs, or, if you want to do like a residency program or do more education, whatever. These are things that you will carry with you throughout your life, if you take them seriously and you internalize them. And that was really the start of this, was like, yeah, I want to help you get into PT school, but the long run is this is going to jumpstart your career type of a thing, and give you, help you as a person know what your unique selling points are, so you can be confident as you enter the workforce and as you look to improve your personal situation as a professional.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like when you're saying that, I was thinking when I was applying for jobs a few years ago as like a trainer, going for interviews, I was terrified, had no idea what I was going to say, had a lot of self-doubt. And now with the tools that you've given me, I just feel so much more aware of myself as a person and like what I can give to a future company or program.
And it paid off.
Totally.
You sold it. So now it's not just this theoretical thing. Like you did it and it worked. And
Yes.
now as you add more experiences, you just refine what you're going to say, but the process is the same.
Hmm.
So, cool. Cool.
Definitely.
So one last question I want to ask you, because this has been great. I've really appreciated all your insight that you've shared. What do you feel like would be your biggest piece of advice to pre-PTs who are either going to apply this next cycle or are coming, in future years?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I've thought about this cycle was I ask myself every day, why not you? So if someone else can get in, you can too. I mean, like I literally wrote it on a post-it note and put it on my mirror. So I saw it every single day. Why not you? Because, someone's going to have a higher GPA than you. Someone might have better GRE scores, but there's so many things that make us unique. And they will see that on your application, especially the schools that look at you holistically. They will see all your experiences and why they should choose you. So just don't doubt yourself. And like you said earlier, where you're meant to be will happen. Whatever school you get into is where you're meant to go. So just remember that it can happen for you. It happened for me and I didn't think it would happen. So
End of the infomercial. No, that's great. That's great. I think self-belief is probably one of the most important things, I think, consistently that people bring up. Because all people hear is like, it's so hard to get into PT school. Do you really want to apply to that program? It's really competitive. Like, and all the time your inner self is just shrinking as people are saying these things. So
yeah. Like I even had my
pump you up.
Yeah, I had my aunt say to me, yeah, you should probably choose a different career. It's probably too hard for you. And I'm like, challenge accepted.
Well, did you send your acceptance offer email to her and say, hey, just
She saw my Facebook update.
FYI?
She did see it.
What was that?
She saw my Facebook update. So yes.
See, and like, there's nothing in this world that really compares to like, you told me I couldn't, watch me go do it. Right.
Right.
And now you're going to a great school, have a great opportunity. You get to go to a beautiful place in the US. Like, what an awesome place to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited for you. I really
Thank
just,
you.
world is your oyster now. You can go out and conquer, see what's going on. And it really is fun to see a lot of these people we've worked and struggled together to see you move on. It's almost like I'm sending you off to college as a little mini parent, right?
Yeah.
But it's so fun to watch, and we'll have to do an update video and see
Yeah.
how things are going for you, and if your perspective has changed at all, and what PT school is like, and all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah. And I just, again, thank you so much. Really could not have done this without you. And like I said, I think my essays and my interview are what got me in. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Sammi, and best of luck with everything. We'll stay in touch. Take care.
You too.